What up, y'all? It's TyranitarTube, and today we're going to be talking about a Mega Zapdos concept for Pokemon Legends Z. Now, we did Articuno last time. Today, I'm going to tell you what this Pokemon Zapdos really is and what a Mega Evolution for it might turn out to be. Now, why Zapdos? We talked about it in the first video. Because they referenced the Cantonian birds in the original X and Y, it sounds like a playful nod they would do when deciding what Megas to add in this game, that they again use them again. So, Mega Zapdos, let's talk about it. Now, Zapdos, listen. You all know Zapdos, you all love Zapdos. Zapdos is very different from how it looks to you. If you lived in the Pokemon world, this thing would give you nightmares. The idea is, you're having your fun time out on a sunny day. When the sky turns dark, when those clouds start to rush in, Zapdos is in those clouds. And Zapdos is firing down these terrifying lightning bolts. You know, Articuno, it's rescuing Pokemon on top of the mountain. Moltres, will talk about what it does. But Zapdos, this is like a force of nature. So Zapdos can control electricity. And it also seems to be able to store electricity in its body. And so flapping its wings allows it to release some of this electricity. And so it kind of weaponizes this. This is also why it hides in thunderstorms or appears in thunderstorms, because it wants to get struck by lightning to recharge itself. Let's say, this is never gonna happen, but let's say you heard a Zapdos flying by near you, or let's say you're in an airplane and flying through one of these thunderclouds, which you're done. You know what Zapdos sounds like when it's flying near you? It's crackling and buzzing sounds. That's what you hear as Zapdos flies by. That's so scary. You know, Zapdos has the complete opposite image of the cool Pokemon it looks, right? Context like this for Pokemon really reminds me of like a Kyogre and Groudon before Kyogre and Groudon were announced, right? Zapdos already here is this tyrant that you're just supposed to accept exists and work your life around them and run away when it's coming, right? This whole concept of Zapdos, if they wanted to delete Zapdos from the game, they could turn this exact concept into a cover legendary and then give it a counterpart that's more graceful. Zapdos is terrifying, y'all. So, now that you're freaked out, let's talk about if Zapdos Mega Evolves. So right now, Zapdos has 580 BST and the ability Pressure, as well as the hidden ability, as should make sense, Lightning Rod. Of course, Zapdos would chase after thunderclouds to be struck, remember? Now here's the thing, Lightning Rod actually got scrapped from Zapdos, and then they just suddenly replaced its hidden ability, and they changed it to Static. This is a rare thing Pokemon does, but they did it for Zapdos. And this is also an ability that properly describes it, right? Especially being this Pokemon filled with electricity, if you went to like physically attack it, it would screw you up with that ability and paralyze you. So here's what we'll do. When Zapdos Mega Evolves, you find a Zapdos site somewhere in game. You'd probably find it like up on a mountain where thunderclouds cross over. Well, there's no freaking mountains in Lumios. It'll be at the top of Prism Tower, just for some reason. So when you find the Zapdos site and we Mega Evolve Zapdos, it's gonna bump up to that beautiful 680 BST, right? The Mewtwo tier. It's gonna have one of two abilities. Its Pressure or Static is gonna transform into either Drizzle, where Zapdos summons a whole storm, right? Like how Kyogre does. This is an interesting one because the rain isn't the same attribute as Zapdos. It just crosses over well and visually makes sense, right? A storm appears, water type moves do more, fire type moves do less, and then all these healing moves that require the sun, they do less because Zapdos is in town. So it creates this weird nuance where when Zapdos Mega Evolves, its biggest weakness in terms of non-super effective attacks is actually using that same water it summoned against it, which is how it would work in real life, right? And Zapdos is actually capable of learning Rain Dance as a move, as proof of its ability to do this. Unfortunately though, Zapdos doesn't learn a single water move. It would be cool if it could. It would also wouldn't make sense if it could, unless it gets some weird signature move in this game. But either way, it can't use the rain properly. It can only use it for its second-hand effect. So that'd be a really cool ability, Drizzle. To go with that 680 BST improved special attack and all, that is terrifying. Here's the second ability it could get, Electric Terrain. This is the other side of the thunderstorm, right? Where Zapdos, instead of summoning the storm, summons the electric terrain. Now, which one of these two makes more sense? The most likely scenario whenever you would find Zapdos in a thundercloud outside is less that Zapdos made that thundercloud itself and more that Zapdos is going there because that's where a lot of electricity is. And so if Zapdos Mega Evolved, something more close to it is the series of lightning bolts it would fire down, and that would create the electric terrain. And that would be more closer to what Mega Zapdos would naturally be capable of pulling off than just summoning the rain all around it. So that's actually a more likely ability. This electric terrain would be like the purest form of this whole storm situation. And what's kind of cool is in Sword and Shield, they crossed over these two. They made it so at certain parts of the game, there's an actual thunderstorm condition where it's both raining and electric terrain at the same time. So what's the difference between the rain and the electric terrain for Zapdos? The rain, remember, allows Zapdos to just fire off infinite thunders without ever having accuracy checks. It can just always hit. So what does the electric terrain do? Well, it doesn't do the same accuracy bypass for thunder, but it does some other things, like raises the damage of electric moves by 30%, as well as a few other things, like there's a move out there called Rising Voltage that only does 70 damage. But when the ground is electrically charged, it does double, 140. And Zapdos can learn this move. It also makes all the Pokemon on the field unable to sleep because of all this electricity going around. It's actually perfect for the freaky feeling you would get from Zapdos. This is the ability to give to it, and this is a lot more fitting than Drizzle. Alright, let's talk about its typing. Now there's two pathways we could go for Zapdos's mega typing here. And it's what we did for the Articuno video as well, where Zapdos can either maintain that electric flying typing, which is very fitting to it, and that's probably the superior idea. But the second idea that could work is Zapdos discarding that flying typing and just becoming a pure electric type. And the excuse I gave in the Articuno video is something like Zapdos becoming the embodiment of electricity, like a symbol of it. And so it doesn't have the flying weaknesses anymore. Zapdos has me feeling differently than I did with Articuno for this. I wanted Articuno to be pure ice, but for Zapdos, I want it to be electric flying. And it's because there's this like superiority and this distance that Zapdos has that makes it extra terrifying. That it's in the air firing all this electricity. And even when it generates this electric terrain, it's not subject to it. Even it is distant from it. I think to go with that terrifying vibe that Zapdos really is, that it should still be a flying type. And so if we were to spread this across all the birds, all of them would be maintaining their flying typing. So that's the gist. Electric flying, electric surge as its ability, I think that's what it's called, and 680 BST. In terms of what Mega Zapdos could look like, there's two ideas they could go down that come to mind. One is to incorporate thunderclouds into its design to make it a legit wandering thundercloud, right? That's striking you down with thunder. But I think the second idea would be better, which is just giving Zapdos these enhanced electric features. You know how electricity is very jolty? If like, for example, you know how Moltres, its wings are just straight up fire? And this is true with Articuno too. Its wings are made of ice. That Zapdos here, its wings, they become like these electric wings. Mega Evolution would be one, adding a bunch of energy to Zapdos, but also the impetus to break free all of Zapdos's existing energy, which is a similar idea that I was giving for Articuno.
This is only a test.
You know that dude freaking woke me up at 4 AM? This is a similar thing I was talking about for Articuno, right? That Articuno is this graceful Pokemon that has more power than it demonstrates to humans and to other Pokemon. And so Mega Evolution would really break it free and allow it to show all the power it has. So same for Zapdos here. It stores a lot of electricity, though it's more devious than Articuno and just fires it as much as it wants. But this would be really allowing all of it to overflow and show what Zapdos is really capable of. Shank that like button. Let's see if there's some fun fan art for this. Alright y'all, I'm gonna show you a cool fan art for this. This is going off the electric idea. First off, Zapdos looks like he's gone a bit crazy. It's missing the pupil from its eyes, which is a cool idea. Because of course, Mega Evolution is gonna corrupt you make you out of your mind. This is like Zapdos has lost its mind. And here's another thing they did, which is made electricity take form around its body. So first, Zapdos has these little pointed tops. Now they're overflowing with electricity and shooting upward. They've also folded in the black part of Zapdos's wings, kind of like they're useless now. Kind of like the electricity came out and it's a shell left behind. And so these are its real pairs of wings now. This is a really good design. It'd be very cool to show off the differences in the Cantonian birds through this. Right now they all look graceful, but to really make Articuno look more graceful and Zapdos look more demonic, and then whatever we talk about for Moltres would be a cool idea. Here's something small they could do that would be freaky. So when Zapdos Mega Evolves, originally Zapdos is flapping its wings, right? After it Mega Evolves, the way this thing moves around is it just freaking floats there and then freaking buzzes around like fleetingly, like it's just electricity. Small things like that would make this so freaky. Shank that like button, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. How would you do a Mega Zapdos? Would you change its typing? And can you think of a better ability than me? We'll do Moltres next time. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.